Okay. So this is probably the ugliest video you're going to see on YouTube or the internet or anywhere. But I didn't want to get up and put on makeup and get all cute and stuff because honestly, that's not how I feel. Um, I am 7 weeks pregnant today with my third child, and I feel like shit. I feel like okay, shit. That's all I can come up with. Um, Morning sickness with this child is kicking my ass. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but for this to be baby number three, I feel like I should be more conditioned to this. Um, this morning sickness is very different from the other two morning sicknesses that I had with, the other two babies, or the other two children because they're not babies anymore. Um, with my first child, I had morning sickness where I was throwing up multiple times a day up until I was about 12 weeks. And then with her, it stopped. As long as like I ate regularly and all of that, I was fine. I was able to work up until I think the week before I had her, maybe. Yeah, I think I worked up until the week before I had her. Um, or no, I worked up till the week before the due date. But she ended up coming like 2 days later. Anyway, so with my second child, I had morning sickness the entire pregnancy. I was throwing up constantly with that child. But after I threw up, I would feel better. This morning sickness makes me feel like I have morning sickness and the flu, and it's just horrible. All I want to do is lay down. Like when I get up and move around, my stomach hurts, my head hurts, my back is killing me. It's everything is just in pain. It just feels awful. My whole body just feels sickening. Um, it just hit, the morning sickness just hit last week. So I've only been dealing with this for a week, but it feels like I've been floored by this morning sickness. And I went online and I looked up, other women and their morning sicknesses and things like that. And it's crazy how unsympathetic people are to morning sickness, and especially other women, which I think is totally baffling because, like, you're a woman, like, you know what we go through. But of course, people don't seem to understand that everybody goes through things differently, things hit people differently, and every pregnancy is different. So it's not going to be the same just because you've been through it, multiple times or one time before, any of that stuff. So I was reading some things online, and one of the things I saw was this woman who said, her husband and her friend's husband went out to have drinks or whatever, and her husband came back and told her that the friend's husband said that his wife was pretty much hamming it up, and she was pretty much being a princess, and that she's pregnant and not sick. And the husband of the friend, excuse me, the husband of the friend wanted the friend to talk to the wife, the friend, um, and tell her, that she's just pregnant, she's not sick. Um, that that instantly pissed me off for her, because I feel like if your husband cannot handle, you going through something, like what is he gonna do when the baby gets there? Like, when you're tired and you're, having to get up every 2 hours because the baby's hungry and the baby's crying and all those things, like, what is he gonna do then? If he can't handle you going through morning sickness. So that's the man part of it. But I kind of expect men to be, well, no, that's not true. I don't expect men to be insensitive. Um, but men are insensitive sometimes because they don't understand, they don't get what's going on, and they do feel like, you're pregnant, not sick. However, it's both. Like, you're pregnant, but you're also sick. And there are some women who do not go through any morning sickness at all. And then there are women that go through the throwing up all day sickness. And then there's women who, like my time right now, that go through the being nauseous all day sickness. For me personally, I feel like the being nauseous all day sickness is much worse than the other two morning sicknesses that I experienced. Because, like I said, the first one, I only went through it for 12 weeks and I would throw up and feel better. My second one, I threw up the whole pregnancy, but after I threw up, like, I would feel better. With this child, this baby, there is no throwing up. Like, I've thrown up maybe I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times since I've been pregnant. And, I felt better after it, but then I would still go right back to being nauseous maybe 30, 40 minutes later. Um, so morning sickness is a bitch right now. That's what I'm gonna say. Um, so yeah. Um, I know there are a lot of women who would not put this video out there. They definitely would not show the ugly side of morning sickness, but it's real. Like, being pregnant is not always pretty. It's not always this glamour situation, and people want to say, well, it's the best time of your life, yada yada yada. No, the fuck it's not. Like, at least not the first trimester anyway. And then honestly, after that, it's really not the best time of your life either, because like, yeah, when you go out the door, people are telling you have this glow and you're so beautiful and you're pregnant, yada yada yada, but you feel miserable. Like, your back is aching, you can't get comfortable when you're trying to sleep, your boobs hurt, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're sick, you can only eat certain things. It's I love my baby, and I don't mind being pregnant because I want my baby. However, pregnancy is not as beautiful as everybody makes it seem. Um, like I said, I've done this 2 other times, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I've enjoyed pregnancy, both of those times as well, but it wasn't the quote unquote best time of my life. This is not like, an amusement park or a spa day or something like that. Like, this is just, I have a child growing in me, so I have to take care of this child type situation. Anyway, another part of this that I wanted to talk about is depression in pregnancy. And I decided to add this to this video instead of making a separate video because, again, it's the ugly side of pregnancy. Like, everything's not cutesy and belly bumps and kicks and things like that. Like, there are things that people don't talk about that people should know. Depression in pregnancy is a real thing. Like, that is real and it's serious. With my last child, I went through postpartum depression, and I knew something was wrong because when my baby got here, all I did was cry. And at first I thought I was crying because, I was so happy she was here, yada, yada, yada. But then I could not stop crying. And it was to the point where, like, I didn't want to touch her. I didn't want to pick her up. I didn't want to hold her, nothing. So for her, I think it was like her 1 week checkup or her 2 week checkup, something like that. I told her doctor, like, I'm sad all the time. And I don't, I don't want to deal with this child. Like, I don't want to hold her. I don't want to pick her up. I'm saying? I love her, but I don't like this child. And, he asked me a series of questions or whatever, and he determined that I did have postpartum depression. They put me on some medication for a little while, and I took it for a little while, but then I decided I didn't want to take it anymore because I'm more of a naturalist person. I'm more of a person that feels like, prayer and essential oils and, more natural types of remedies will help me get through what I need to get through versus taking man-made medication. I'm not doubting Western medication or anything like that. I'm just saying, for me, that's, my thing. With this baby, I will say at the very beginning, I went through some depression where I felt like, I didn't want to get off the couch. I didn't want to get out of bed. Like, all I wanted to do was lay down the entire day. And it wasn't just like the pregnancy tiredness. It was I have no motivation to do anything. And, anybody who really knows me knows, like, I'm a get up and get it done person. I'm, striving to reach my goals. I'm a motivational person. Like, I go for what I'm trying to get to. But for about 2 or 3 weeks, like, I just didn't have it in me. And, my fiance, like, we get along really, really well. And I was, yelling at him nonstop, about little things that didn't even matter. Like, he was breathing wrong or something. I don't know. But then it got to the point where, like, I was crying a lot again. And at first I thought it was just because of the hormones, because like I would cry at like commercials or, something on TV that, wasn't necessarily sad, and I was like, this is pregnancy hormones, yada, yada, yada. But, the crying just didn't stop. Like, if he and I would have a conversation, like, I would just start crying out of nowhere. Or like going grocery shopping, like, and they didn't have my brand of cereal and I'm crying, like little things like that. That, would normally sound like a normal pregnancy hormone thing to other people. Like, I know for me, something's wrong. And it's a deeper situation. 1, because of the lack of motivation. 2, because I don't want to get out of bed. And 3, because, I'm crying all the time. And I'm not a crying person. Even with the other 2 children, I didn't cry. And again, every pregnancy is different. So that could have been a symptom from that. But the lack of motivation is really what made me pay attention to, I might be going through some depression. And of course, I did what I always did, and I went online and I researched it. And they call it perinatal depression. I may not be pronouncing that correctly, but apparently a lot of women get that, and a lot of women who don't deal with that depression end up having postpartum depression after they have the baby. So looking back on my second child, I will say that I do think I had perinatal depression with her as well, which is probably what led to the postpartum depression once I had her. With this baby, I do plan on talking to my doctor as soon as possible, and seeing what we can do to try to resolve this situation, because I definitely don't want to have postpartum after this baby gets here. I know that there are some antidepressants and things that you can take while you're pregnant. However, like I said, I'm not really keen on the whole Western medicine thing, especially while I'm pregnant. So I'm going to see if there's, more natural ways to do this. I do use my aromatherapy, and do like grapefruit and bergamot and, lavender, like, the antidepressive scents, things like that. Of course, you can't use jasmine, rosemary, things like that, because they cause, uterine contractions and you can have a miscarriage and all of that. So, just working through that. But yeah, so like I said, this is a very ugly video because I did not get up and try to do anything. But this is what pregnancy looks like sometimes, you just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? That's just what happens. And I don't know why the video got really dark once I pressed record, but it did. So that definitely made it look worse as well. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to let you guys go. But if you do feel like you're going through some type of depression, or you feel, detached from the baby that's growing in you, or whatever the situation is, like, talk to someone, like, call someone, talk to your doctor, do something, so that once the baby gets here, like, you can go through and have a happy delivery and all of that without having to go through the postpartum. Now, granted, some women do go postpartum without having perinatal depression. So again, like, if you just feel some type of way, make sure you talk to your doctor. For all of those moms who are currently going through morning sickness and making it look good, I salute you, because this is a mess. To all of those women who are going through morning sickness and look like me, God bless you as well, because this is no joke. For all of the men who have women who are pregnant and you think that she's not sick, she's just pregnant, or, she's hamming it up, or whatever the situation is, shut the fuck up, sit down somewhere and take care of her. Like, literally, like, just take care of her. Like, she'll get through the morning sickness and it won't be so bad after a while. But while she's going through it, like, just deal with, like, you only had one job. Like, all you had to do was nut. Like, literally, that's it. Or for everybody else, that's come, if you don't know what nut is. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you had to do was give her the seed, and now she has to do everything else. So be nice to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's stretching out her body for your child, for y'all's child. You know what I'm saying? Like, be nice to her. Luckily, my fiance is very sweet and very attentive, and he takes care of everything that I need. So luckily, I don't have that problem. But if you're in a relationship and your guy is an asshole, like, let him know he's being an asshole. Because there are people out there who will take care of you while you're pregnant, no questions asked. So let him know you don't have to deal with his bullshit. Anyway, so that's it. Bye, guys.